So I call the meeting to order. As a preliminary matter, this is Brendan Tedstone, Select Board Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members or persons are, hold on one second.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I literally is only just, I chose to cut through here.
Because it's the only space.
You.
Nice.
Yeah.
Selectman meeting.
Yeah, keep going.
Talk to you in a minute. Sorry about that. As a preliminary matter, this is Brendan Tedstone, Select Board Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Irfan Nasrullah.
Here.
Mary Jo Lafreniere.
Here.
Amy Ritterbush.
Here.
Muriel Kramer. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Elaine Lazarus.
Here.
Additional speakers at this meeting may include Joe Markey, Robert Leduc, Charles McNeil, John Aida, Kelly Grill, Maria Casey, Steve Slamman, and Joe Bennett. If there's anyone attending who would like to speak during public forum of the portion, you must notify the meeting host in advance. You may do so now by using the raise hand feature of Zoom. This open meeting of the Hopkins Select Board is conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we're complying with the executive order that suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. The executive order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely as long as the public body makes provisions through adequate alternative means to ensure interested members of the public are provided reasonable access to the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. For this meeting, the Select Board is convening by video conference via Zoom webinar as posted on the town's web meeting calendar and the board's agenda identifying how the public may join. Additionally, the meeting is being broadcast by HCAM. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some of the attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will invite board members to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in dialogue with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Not every agenda item will feature public comment. For the public forum and public hearing portions of the agenda, the chair will work with the meeting host to call on each pre-registered speaker to make their comment. Each speaker must begin by identifying their name and address. Each speaker will have up to 2 minutes for their comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Pledge of Allegiance. Let's stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I can't stand, I'm in my truck, but I will recite it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So the Select Board reorganization, the board will select a chair and vice chair for the next year. I move to select Irfan Nasrullah as chair for the next year.
I'll second that nomination.
I open the floor. Are there any other nominations other than Mr. Nasrullah? Hearing none. Mr. Nasrullah, before we put this to vote, are you willing and able to take on the job as chair?
Yes, I am.
Okay, that's great. Roll call vote. Brendan Tedstone, yes. Irfan Nasrullah?
Yes.
Mary Jo Lafreniere?
Yes.
Amy Ritterbush?
Yes.
Muriel Kramer?
Muriel Kramer, yes. Thank you, Irfan.
I can think of no better successor than Mr. Nasrullah. He's done a wonderful job with us these last 3 years, and I am proud to pass the chairmanship over to him.
Yeah,
Uh,
he'll have to read that long opening statement each time.
Yes, yeah, just in time for it. Now that the state of emergency is over, it's gone. So, I suppose I will open the floor. I will open the floor to somebody else to nominate someone for vice chair.
I'd be, oh,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'd be proud to nominate Amy Ritterbush for vice chair.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay. Mr. Nasrullah, you own this now, buddy. I am now officially chairman emeritus and senior
Roll call vote.
parliamentarian.
We're going to go just in order of seniority on the board. So, Mr. Tedstone, how do you vote?
After further discussion, I heard none, I would vote no, yes to Amy.
Thank you. Ms. Lafreniere?
Frenier, yes.
Ms. Ritterbush?
Ritterbush, yes.
And Ms. Kramer?
Muriel Kramer's a yes.
Thank you,
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to go a little bit off script before we move to the public forum. I just want to state, I know we had our love fest for Mr. Herr, but I think his contributions to the town are worthy of a second thank you. And as chair and on behalf of the board, I just want to thank Mr. Herr for his years of service to the town. I think his service has been invaluable and he'll be sorely missed.
Duly noted and absolutely agree with you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
If I could say something, Irfan, I missed the last time because I was not yet on the board.
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Herr has made a contribution over the decades, not just years. So certainly we appreciate all of his investment. I also wanted to commend him for his other ways of service. He has raised, I think, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in the fight against cancer for Dana-Farber. So congratulations to a real community contributor. Really thank him a lot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kramer. I think I'm glad you brought that up. The second thing I wanted to mention is, if time were only part of the equation, well, actually our former chair made it part of the equation and ran a real tight meeting. So it is my intention to continue with the time limits on the public forum of 2 minutes and to continue with a orderly meeting. So with that, I will open up the public forum. Is there anyone who would like to speak? I see two people. I see one person now. Christina, are you here? And can we liven her up? I no longer see Christina, so I no longer see anyone.
She's there.
Yeah, I do.
She's there.
She's right there.
Okay,
Hi,
you're on.
my name is Christina Hannigan, 24 Cross Street, and I'm here with Ruta Uplaker, also a Hopkinton resident representing the Hopkinton Freedom Team, which has a goal of promoting love, inclusion, and trust. We're seeking buy-in and support from the Select Board around a series of virtual events spanning Juneteenth, which is on June 19th to July 4th, to encourage people to reflect about freedom. We plan to use the Hopkinton Lights Up as One lights display that the South Asian Circle of Hopkinton put together as a backdrop for the 16 days of activities. Our goal is to deconstruct Hopkinton into 9 sub-themes: history for H, origins for O, pride for P, etc., and host events that relate to these themes and that aim to promote awareness and encourage action. Every 2 days or so on the Common, we will light up the banner with a color that represents the letter. We contacted Parks and Rec to obtain permission to do this. We're also asking for permission from the Select Board to fly the Freedom flag at Town Hall between June 19th and July 4th, lower than the US flag. According to the National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation, the flag gives all Americans the opportunity to recognize American freedom and African American history. This is in line with what we're trying to do and would help tie all our events together along with the lights display. More importantly, flying the freedom flag would be a way to show respect and appreciation towards our African American neighbors in Hopkinton. Flying it in front of Town Hall sends an even more impactful message since it's from there that our town is governed. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Elaine, do we need to have a hearing in order to fly the flag or a banner?
So we don't have a policy on that, but I don't believe it needs a vote of the board. If it's something that we're inclined to do, we can ask the facilities department to fly the flag.
Okay.
So through the chair, there is definitely a distinct flag policy when it comes to the United States flag and other flags around the United States. I know that was an issue that had come up about a year ago in another in another festivity that was going to be held at the Common. So I would ask that, regardless of how they're going to do it, that whatever the protocol, whatever the official protocol for the flying of the U.S. flag, I request that that's followed.
So,
However, this is public comment, so we can't go back and forth.
yeah, so I just wanted to add that I did review the flag requirements that the American Legion has adopted, and it is acceptable to fly the flag lower than the U.S. flag on the same pole.
Okay, so you don't need anything from us as the board, though, in order to do this.
No, I just wanted to make sure we weren't replacing the American flag with another flag. We're flying it below.
Correct.
Would that make sense? Okay.
Excellent. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? I do not see anyone, so I guess we can move on. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. The board will consider approving the consent agenda consisting of approval of the minutes of the May 18, 2021 meeting and accepting a $2,000 gift from the Hopkinton Community Partnership for the K9 gift account. Board members, do you have any, would you like to break any of the items out for a separate vote?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, in that case, I request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Mr. Tedson, how do you vote?
Tedson, yes.
Ms. Lafreniere,
Lafreniere, yes.
Ms. Ritterbush,
Ritterbush, yes.
and Ms. Kramer.
Ariel Kramer, yes.
So I noticed that you say Muriel Kramer. Is that how you'd like to be referred to, as opposed to Ms. Kramer?
Yeah, it's actually, it's a deal with the roll call vote. You're supposed to say your whole name.
All right.
And you're supposed to vote too, Irfan, just point of
Yes,
order.
and Nasrullah, yes. Irfan Nasrullah, yes. All right. Moving on, the Elementary School Building Committee. The board will receive the final report of the Elementary School Committee for the Marathon School from Joe Markey, the chair. Mr. Markey, are you here? And can we liven him up?
Through the chair, I am not seeing Mr. Markey, but if Mr. Markey is here, could you raise your hand in Zoom? Thank you.
I am not.
We're running a little ahead of schedule. That might be the issue.
Yeah. All right. Well, while we're waiting for Mr. Markey, let's see, what else can we go to? Can we move over to the appointment of the new employee?
Is he here?
Is Robert Leduc here? I don't see him either.
I see Maria Casey from HR. I don't know.
All right. Maria, are you available to talk about this one?
I think she's here for the police and fire
Yeah.
goals.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for Mr. Markey and Mr. Leduc, I'm just trying to find what else we can do here. So we have a couple public hearings, which will have to start on time. Is Ms. Casey available to talk about the town manager, police chief, and fire chief's annual goals? Okay.
Through the chair, I don't think we need Mr. Leduc here to promote him. We can kind of zip through that, and
All right.
he knows he's being promoted.
Okay.
Through the chair,
Yes.
sorry, I was having technical difficulties. If we could wait for Mr. Leduc, I know he was scheduled to attend, and DPW Director John Westerling wanted to present him. And I believe that Ms. Lazarus has a little bio, if the board would like to hear the bio, and I can grab my phone and see if I can text Mr. Westerling.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay,
Good idea.
Elaine, do you want to work on the bio?
Yeah, I'll do that. Robert Leduc is replacing Gerard Berthollet, who took a position in the private sector, and he's being hired as working foreman at the highway DPW. Under the direction of the highway manager, the working foreman provides supervisory technical work in a participatory manner related to all highway division activities in the town. Mr. Leduc's experience, most recently, he worked for 5.5 years with Assabet Construction as a working foreman. He has experience with the Providence and Worcester Railroad as an equipment operator, and over 25 years experience in construction. His references revealed that from the town inspector, where he most recently worked, stated that he thinks outside the box while managing multiple crews. He is a forward thinker. His strengths were described as being a self-starter, motivated, and with a positive attitude. He's calm under pressure and can handle complex situations with utilities. Another reference stated that as a foreman, Rob isn't above jumping into a hole to assist. And the interview panels were comprised of Mike Manser, the highway manager, DPW Director John Westerling, HR Generalist Kristen Merrill, and Maria Casey, HR Director.
And if I'm through the chair, if I may, this is it was a vacancy. Hopefully I'm not repeating what Ms. Lazarus said, for Gerard Berthollet, who left and went into the private sector.
Okay. Ms. Casey, did you have any success in reaching Mr. Westerling?
Not as of yet.
Okay. So, board members?
So, are we gonna appoint him, or if we're gonna move on, we can kill some time doing the liaison assignments if you want.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, why don't we move on to the liaison assignments?
Okay.
All right, let me pull those up. So before we determine new liaison report positions and memberships, are there any current liaison reports from board members?
I have none, Mr. Nasrullah, Mr. Chair, sorry.
Thank you. Ms. Lafreniere?
Well, I have, the only thing I have is that the Marathon Fund Committee will have their next meeting on the Common,
Okay.
the
And
public
when would that
meeting.
be? When would that be?
I think it's the 23rd. I'm not absolutely positive. I have to look.
Okay, excellent. Ms. Ritterbush. Liaison reports.
I don't have any liaison reports this week.
Okay, thank you. So let me just pull up the liaison assignments. Mr. Tedstone, I'm going to ask for a little assist here. And how do we normally go about doing this?
So in the past, Mr. Chair, the person that's coming onto the board, the person who left the board obviously left their prior liaison assignments.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the old trading of baseball cards. If there's any liaison assignments that we didn't want or we wanted to change up for, so if so Mr. Herr had the school committee. If someone was for sure wanting to have the school committee, they could see if somebody else was interested in taking over one of their other assignments. So so I have last year's printed out here, and it looks like Brian kind of got off the schneid a little bit last year, where he didn't have that much to do. He had the school committee, I know.
So you have the library, the school athletic funds, school athletic field subcommittee.
Yep. The Pratt master plan team.
It looks like that's it.
Fruit Street. Library, and I believe he was the schools as well.
I had marked down I'd be interested in doing the library, if no one else does.
So I'm fine with that. Ms. Kramer, are you comfortable taking over the liaison assignments for Mr. Herr?
Yeah, I totally am. But as you mentioned, there aren't as many. And so it's not really the full load. So I'm very flexible. I did write down several that I'd be interested in, but I'm very flexible to do whatever is most helpful for the board.
Mr. Chair, one of the historically, one of the ones that the chair takes over is the school committee. So, and I can tell you that takes a large portion of time.
Mm-hmm.
So with the school committee coming off of my plate and going on to yours, it looks like you have Concom, Permanent Building Committee, the ADA Oversight Committee, the Cultural Council, Youth Commission, the BAA, Upper Charles, and the affordable housing. Are there any of those that you and Ms. Kramer would like to swap off?
So yeah, Ms. Kramer, would you want to take on the permanent building?
Oh, I'd be delighted to take on the permanent building committee.
I know last year we talked about it, and if you wanted, I would take on the BAA, unless you want to continue with it. I don't care. I mean, it's
one that I'm reluctant to let go of, but I know that you have been working diligently on this. So.
Okay. No, it's okay. You like it, take it. It's not my.
All right.
And I did have one Muriel. I have a couple here. One Muriel had put down is the Marathon Fund Committee, and I just was at their last meeting when we did the scholarships, and they're short a member, and they have asked that the select board member become a member. Therefore, we don't need a liaison, and I thought I would be willing to do that. You'd have to go to all their meetings, but if you want to do it, that's okay with me too.
I'm totally flexible. I just want to make sure that I have a full slate of responsibilities that's most helpful.
Oh, we'll get you there.
Yeah, I have done them. I have done many of these before. The Marathon Fund Committee is one. But without the chart in front of me, it's a little hard for me to really keep track.
Yeah.
But I am, I'm really flexible.
So it's towards the end of the meeting packet.
No, yes, I know. I'm working on a little laptop from a little apartment in. So
Well, if you do the Marathon Fund Committee, would you join them as a member?
I'm fine to do that if that's what they need.
Yeah, they've only got 3 members right now, and they can use a few more. So,
Miss Lazarus, is there any restrictions on just becoming a member, not being a liaison?
no, Marathon Fund Committee is a different one. It has a 1-year appointment by the board, and it may be a select board member on a currently vacant seat, which is what they've got. If the select board member joins as a member, then there's no need for a liaison.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay, great.
I could, through the chair,
Sure.
it looks like a lot of us signed up for roles and there's not too much overlap. Maybe we could just go over the ones that either have no one assigned to them or 2 people assigned to them. We can talk those out.
Sure. So appropriations.
That's Norman.
That's Norman.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking through the list here and I don't see any that doesn't have coverage.
I think Board of Appeals, Conservation Commission, Planning Board are open.
So I thought I was conservation.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, I'm sorry, through the chair,
Go
I
ahead.
know that I kind of was quickly going through and jotting things down, and then it just seemed a little bit definitely off of our beaten path of how we did things. That's why I asked Elaine to forward last year's liaison. So that's why so whatever I put down there, I think I don't know if it's completely accurate. So I'm basing my the groups that I had from last year on the ones that I will hopefully keep this year.
Okay.
So Irfan, are you saying you would do those 3 that don't right now on the list don't have anyone here?
I'm sorry.
Board
say
of
that again?
Appeal- Are you saying you would do Board of Appeals, Conservation Commission, and Planning Board?
I'm willing to let go of Board of Appeals or planning.
I'm happy to do planning.
I think you're perfectly suited for
You're the
planning. board.
best one for it, I think.
And I don't, on the list, I had put down library. So are you changing it as you go? Amy, as I'm looking
I
at
was
it?
I was starting to do that. If
Yeah,
that's okay.
perfect. Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
So I put-
another thing is that Muriel and I both put down Tax Relief Committee, and I don't care about that. I mean, I love that committee, but you really have to keep after them.
You're probably the better suited to
Oh.
it, Mary Jo, but I'm happy to step in if you want to take a break.
No, that's okay. I can handle that one because they don't meet all that often. It's like a concentrated few months right after the first tax bills go out, and then that's it. They don't meet the rest of the year, so short time.
So leave that one, Mary Jo. Is it?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
And then what? I
And
don't
then
think
I'm giving Muriel the Marathon Fund.
okay. Hold on. And then Board of Appeals, did we say? Was that?
Board of Appeals, I'm happy to let go of. Actually, I don't think I had it. No, I didn't. I had conservation and permanent building.
And planning's going to Muriel.
Thanks, Muriel.
So I think that that I still don't have many. I can take the Board of Appeals as well with planning.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a natural fit from planning and Board of Appeals.
Okay. Let's see. So I'm just looking for the blanks now. So school committee is going to be Irfan, did we say?
So
Yes.
Muriel's got 8. Amy's got 8, 9, 10.
I think I have 8. I think Muriel now has 9, but when we
Well,
get through, we'll-
there's a couple that I don't have I had put down
Or that are
interest.
duplicates. Okay. So school reentry advisory group, that's not necessary, or is that still meeting?
Pretty sure that that's discontinued.
Okay, so we can probably leave that blank.
Since they've re-entered.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
Irving Tadaro properties, but that's kind of over and done with, isn't it?
Not necessarily.
No?
But
Especially
I
with
think
the
that can probably be lumped in with the new elementary school building committee, whoever's going to be on that. So that
Okay.
So council on
Well, I mean,
aging
it's
has,
just-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
So council on aging didn't have anyone's name next to it. Two people have veteran celebration.
I
Brenda.
just took mine off because
Okay.
Brendan's holding on to that.
Okay,
Um,
so also cultural council doesn't have anyone right now. I think
I
we're
can
fine.
do that one. Oh,
I think I'm on that, aren't I?
oh, do you want to?
You want that one?
We don't
Okay.
have you on this particular chart, Irfan, at the moment.
yeah, I don't either.
Okay.
So
So
Muriel,
I'm happy to do that one. And
Okay,
so by my count, I'm at 8 if I have that. So
We only have you on 5 on our list. So do you want to say which 8 you think you have?
Sure.
there we go.
Sure. So conservation,
Yep.
permanent building.
That one has Brendan's name by it right now, or Brendan was also interested, it sounds like.
Brendan, you want it?
No, I don't. I said that
I
I was
thought-
going by last year's list and that disregard the list that I filled out the other day.
Okay, so,
I'll take council on aging if you want.
okay.
I don't mind.
All right. And then the other ones I believe I have is ADA oversight.
Besides, I'm aging.
Okay, I'd be interested in doing that. They're not meeting, right? But would you rather do that? That's fine.
I'm fine either way. I just want to keep my load by my count, I had 8, and as I was going through them.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
And as I drop them, I start to like not be carrying my weight. Although I guess the school committee is
You'll
I'll
be
do a
carrying
lot.
plenty.
yeah. So if somebody wants that, I'm happy to give it up.
Which one? Council on aging?
Yeah, ADA oversight.
I'd be interested in that one.
I'd take it.
Okay.
Or, oh, okay.
Okay.
Ms. Lazarus, are you keeping track of all this?
It's
So-
gonna be Amy.
We're doing it real time on the sheet.
The Google
Irfan.
sheet.
Okay. I'm still old school looking at pen and paper, so.
You gotta keep up with Ms. Ritterbush there.
Well, fortunately, she's the vice chair, so
There you go.
that could be one of the things I delegate for.
Okay.
I gave
All right.
a couple this year that I had. 12.
I just
and
want to
then-
make sure, oh, veteran services. I thought 2 people were on there, but now it's changed.
Once again, I had put I thought that we were putting X's in what we were interested in, and I noticed that Brendan had it last year, so I figure he wants to keep it.
Okay.
Is that true? Veteran celebration?
Yeah, that's actually
So
that's what I'm big into. I know that you're a veteran, but I'm a,
Yeah,
a
I'm
veteran
definitely a
appreciator.
veteran.
I'm definitely the appreciator. So that's one that I really like doing.
but that's not veteran services.
No,
Nope, that's Norman.
That's Norman. Okay.
Okay, so I think, let's see. So Irvine Tadero, we're thinking that's blank and Pratt is blank, Pratt Farm, but are we thinking those are not necessary right now?
But it shouldn't be blank.
no,
Pratt-
I've got the Pratt.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They're on hiatus, but they're still valid.
Wait,
Yeah.
who's got the Pratt? Muriel?
Muriel,
And Irvine Tadero? Or,
that's fine.
okay. So now I think there's at least one person for each item now, and I don't think there's any duplicates.
No more blanks, good.
So,
Open space, Brendan, you're still interested in open space?
That's right.
Okay,
Oh.
so I have Brendan down for 9, Irfan 6, Mary Jo 11, and Amy Muriel each for 8.
Let me
Okay,
see. So
we have to
so for
count the
me, I've
school
got-
committee as more than just.
I agree, yeah. And being the chair is more as well.
Oh, Upper Charles has 2 people.
Oh, okay.
the Upper Charles.
So,
So I'm fine. So whoever's keeping track, these are the ones that I have. Fire department, police department, the Keefe Tech Regional Vocational Technical School Committee. We DC'd the School Reentry Advisory Group.
Yep.
I have the Veteran Celebration Committee.
Yep.
I have the Trail Coordination and Management Committee. I have the Elementary School Building Committee, which is going to be DC'd or potential. I'm happy to jump on that next one. I have Open Space. And that's it. So it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's perfect.
okay.
Okay, who's got Upper Charles Trail? I'm sorry.
I think that's Brendan. Oh, actually, Brendan and Irfan both have it listed.
I think,
Um,
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
I don't
Like-
think that that's me. I think that let me look at who Upper Charles was. So
it was me.
that was our friend last year.
Yeah. And I'd like to keep it.
Okay,
So,
All right. The chart shows that you have 7 here, Brendan, so I don't know which one we're missing.
All right, so I have Fire Department, Police Department, Keefe
Yep.
Tech.
Yep.
School Reentry Advisory Group,
oh, that was
Which
the
is
one.
gone. Okay,
Okay, but just in
Yep.
case, I guess.
okay. Veteran Celebration,
gotcha.
TCMC, the Trail Coordination Management Committee,
Yep,
Elementary School Building Committee, and Open Space.
yep, that's all matches now.
okay.
There we go.
Then we have 6 for Irfan, but knowing that school committee is a bigger load and chair is a bigger load.
Does somebody need to take animal control?
No, that's taken. Animal
Oh,
control.
yep,
is,
thank you. Yep.
Elaine
Elaine.
has that one. Elaine.
Lucky Elaine. Woohoo.
I also wanted to
Oh.
note that the growth study committee is going to be disbanded.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we remove that? I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, we can remove it.
8, 9, 10.
Sorry. Oh, I guess I put myself by it, so that's going to be gone.
Okay.
So do we have any blanks here? Or we have somebody for everything?
I think we have
I
someone for
think we-
everything.
I think we somehow stumbled across the finish line, Irfan.
Yeah, Mary
Oh.
Jo seems to have more than the rest, but if she's,
Yeah.
do you feel like you have time
Well,
for that?
that happened last year only because I'm retired and some of these are not, like I said, tax relief only meets right after the tax bills go out for a couple of months and then they don't meet the rest of the year and Marathon hasn't been meeting, so it's okay, good.
The marathon will
Somebody wants
heat up, I
something.
would think.
Huh?
I said, I would think marathon would be heating up potentially, right?
Oh, yeah.
In
it's
the following year? So then I think we got them all covered now.
I think we're good there, yeah. Has Joe come back yet?
Yes, Joe texted me and said that he is waiting to be let in.
All right, perfect. Can we liven him up? So the board will receive the final report of the elementary building committee for the Marathon School from Joe Markey. Mr. Markey, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Nasrullah. Thanks for having me today. It was 8 years ago around this time of year that we began meeting as the elementary school building committee to find a solution for the operational and educational constraints at Center School. And that project eventually led to the identification of a property on Hayden Row where we subsequently built the Marathon Elementary School. And although that school opened in 2018, believe it or not, there's a lot of administrative work that follows on. And we finally finished up the last of that this year. And on May 4th, we held our final elementary school building committee at which we took a vote to request the select board to disband the elementary school building committee because we have completed our charge. I've attached in your meeting packet a copy of the final state audit report of our costs, as well as the final letter of grant from the MSBA. And with that, I would like to respectfully thank all of my fellow volunteers and staff members from the school and town side who worked so hard on this project. And thanks to their efforts, we now have a school that's in a location suitable for expansion, which we now have town meeting approval to do, which is in line with the plan that we advanced when we constructed the building. So thank you for everyone who volunteered on this. And with that, I would like to formally request the dissolvement of the elementary school building committee for Center School.
Thank you, Mr. Markey. Board members, do you have any questions or comments?
Quite a report. Quite a good report, Joe. Thank you.
Through the chair, I was a liaison for this group, and it was a very well-run machine by many people that came from very varied backgrounds. Mike Shepard was great to work with. Joe ran great meetings. He was very prepared. He did a great job. You know, in the spirit of trying to keep to the agenda and keeping to the time, thank you, Joe. You did a wonderful job. It was fun to serve with you on that. I believe we came in a couple of million under budget, which didn't hurt our reputation either. So awesome job to all, and thank you.
Thanks, Brendan. And to be precise, we came in $4 million, spending $4 million less than town meeting had appropriated for the project. So you're correct. Thank you.
That's fantastic. That's great. Ms. Lafreniere, you have any comments or questions?
No, I was reading it and reading it and reading it. So it's a good report. Thank you.
Ms. Ritterbush, any questions or comments?
No, just thank you. Thanks for the whole committee for all their work on this. And it's a really long time commitment.
And Ms. Kramer?
Yes, thank you through the chair. Mr. Markey, congratulations to you and your whole committee. I had the pleasure of sort of watching it kick off and get started way back at the beginning. And a couple of things that your committee did amazingly well, served as a gold standard. And one of those things was your engagement with the community and your active communication to keep the community informed, involved, and supportive. And your committee really deserves an awful lot of credit, not just for the success of building the school on time, under budget, but the way you did it was terrific.
Thank you very much. And again, I want to personally thank the other appointed volunteers who were Mike Shepard, John Weaver, and Rob Nickerson. It was really our core volunteer team. And we had rotating members from school committee and select board.
So I just want to add, actually, there's not much I can add after everything that's been said here, but I think you guys did a fantastic job. Under budget, on time. What else can we ask for? So great job. Thank you for everything. And it's a gorgeous school that we can expand. I think it's, what else can we ask for? So with that, I request a motion to dissolve the elementary school building committee for the Marathon School and to thank the members for their service to the community.
So moved.
Second.
So in the roll call vote, how do you vote? Brendan Tedstone?
I vote yes.
Mary Jo Lafreniere?
I vote, Mary Jo Lafreniere says yes.
Amy Ritterbush?
Amy Ritterbush, yes.
And you can already tell the influence she's had as I'm now saying everyone's full name, Muriel Kramer.
I am a rule follower. Muriel Kramer, yes.
And Irfan Nasrullah says yes as well. We have a public hearing starting at 6:45. It's by my clock. It says 6:44. So I think we will wait on the new employee. And Ms. Lazarus, can I open the public meeting a minute early?
No.
No. See, the new chair needs to be put in his place. So
You could probably start livening up the microphones for the people
Yeah.
who'll be speaking.
yeah. So the first, so yeah, can we liven up the mics for the Hopkinton Wine and Spirits? And by my clock, I now see that I am permitted to open the public meeting. So I call the public hearing to order. This public hearing is being held pursuant to an application to transfer the ownership, but not the license, of section 15 package store all alcohol license for Hopkinton Wine and Spirits at 77 West Main Street. Would Charles McNeil, representative, please join the board and make a brief presentation describing this request?
Through the chair, you just made one mistake where you said that the hearing is being held pursuant to an application to transfer the ownership. You said, but not the license. It is the license, but not the location.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. McNeil, are you here? And can we liven him up? Do I see?
Attorney Tom Truex is here on behalf of the applicant. If I'm following the agenda correctly, that's our client, Jay Shivam Kara.
Yes. Let's see.
Yep.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, then I'll proceed, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Attorney Tom Truex, excuse me, Mr. Chair, members of the board, my name is Tom Truex. I'm an attorney up in Salem, Massachusetts. I'm appearing on behalf of the proposed corporate transferee. With me, I don't see him. Yeah, there he is Kishan Patel, who is president and 50% shareholder of the corporation. He is also the proposed license manager of the corporation. The underlying transaction is fairly straightforward. It is the sale of the business, including the all alcoholic beverages package store license. Rockland Trust Company is financing 80% of the purchase price, and they are requesting as collateral for this loan a pledge of the license and a pledge of the inventory. Mr. Patel comes before you with a little over 2 years of experience. He is currently the manager of his family's package store in Milford, which is called Purchase Street Market. Again, he is the license manager, the store manager there. He is tips trained, and he's not just he's an in-person tips training, not just the online training, which is much more thorough. He is also coming before you proposing to put in a card reader machine in the store. Excuse me, in the store. There currently is not a card reader machine in the store. He feels that for the safety of carding customers coming in, that the card reader machine is the ideal way to go. And I always recommend that as well. I mean, I give him my typical spiel indicating who he should be carding everyone that looks over 50, just to be on the safe side, because this is his license. This is a major transaction. He doesn't want to lose his license. In terms of the transaction itself, or the operation itself, the operation of the store will pretty much remain the same. He intends on keeping retaining at least 2 to 3 employees. He also plans on keeping the store hours the way they are now. In terms of the operation of the store, right at this moment, the main thing is going to be cleaning up the store, general cleanup of the store, and reorganizing of product to make it more accessible and clearly recognizable to the customer in coming into the store, so they'll be able to know where the product is. So the transition would be pretty much seamless from one operation to the next. So I don't anticipate any issues, and be glad to answer. He and I will be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Ms. Lazarus.
Thank you. Just wanted to note that the new owners have been queried and no issues were identified. The permitting team did not have any adverse comments, and there's no outstanding issues with the current license. I did note that Mr. Truex mentioned the pledge of license of the inventory, so that would be added to your motion this evening as well.
The pledge of the inventory or pledge of the license?
That you approve of the pledge of the license and the inventory.
Okay. Board members, you have any questions? Mr. Tedstone?
Yeah, so Ms. Lazarus's comments kind of took care of those. I know that we've had a couple of bumps in the road with the prior owners and some issues with them. I just want to make sure that everything with the prior owners are cleared up, that we've quarried, and that with the permitting committee, if the permitting committee is given 2 thumbs up for everything, then I'm good with it.
Miss Mary Jo Lafreniere?
I just, for the public's edification, the hours of the operation are going to be the same as they have been all along. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I know that the license indicates 8 to 11, Monday through Saturday, and Sundays are 12 to 6. So those hours will remain the same. We don't want to have those hours curtailed. I believe there may be shorter hours to begin with, but in terms of the hours that appear on the license, they would remain the same.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Ritterbusch?
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions after hearing the presentation and Ms. Lazarus's comments.
Great. And Muriel Kramer?
I don't have any questions either. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't have any questions either. I think everything was presented well. All my questions were answered. So,
Mr. Chair, I move to close the public hearing.
I think we need to open it up to the public first.
Oh, okay.
Do we have any comments from the public? If you do, please use the raise hand feature. And I do not see any.
Perfect.
So would you like to renew that motion?
I would like to move, I would move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Tedstone?
Yes.
Ms. Lafreniere?
Mrs. Mary Jo Lafreniere, yes.
Thank you. Amy Ritterbusch?
Amy Ritterbusch, yes.
Muriel Kramer?
Muriel Kramer, yes.
And Irfan Nasrullah, yes. I'm going to
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the transfer of the Section 15 alcohol license from RKY-HPTK Corporation to High Shiv Om Kara Incorporated, DBA Hopkins Wine and Spirits at 77 West Main Street.
Yeah,
Okay.
Elaine said we had to add something else about the
Yeah.
inventory.
Oh, including all the inventory.
the pledge of the inventory and the license, correct?
Yes.
Is that what you meant to say? Okay. good.
Yes, that was in my motion. Perhaps you did not hear me.
I didn't hear you. I have a hearing problem. Do I hear a second?
Second,
Okay. Roll call vote. Brendan Tedstone,
Yes.
Mary Jo Lafreniere,
Mary Jo Lafreniere, yes.
Amy Ritterbusch,
Amy Ritterbusch, yes.
Muriel Kramer,
Muriel Kramer is a yes.
and Irfan Nasrullah is a yes as well. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, members of the board.
It's our pleasure.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So it looks like we have 7 minutes before our next public hearing. So is our new employee available?
I think I see him in the waiting list too.
I don't believe I see him.
Yep, he's here.
Is
Hello.
he?
Hi.
Hi, great. So the board will consider the appointment of Robert Leduc as working foreman for the highway at the Department of Public Works. Ms. Lazarus.
Thank you. I earlier read the bio, but Mr. Leduc, I said good things about you and described your experience, that you have many years in the construction industry, and your references spoke highly of it. And I listed who was on the interview panel, so welcome.
Thank you.
And through the chair, Mr. Nasrullah,
Yes.
John Westerling is on as well.
Excellent. Can we live
Yeah.
on Mr. Westland?
He's
Good
outside.
evening, members of the board. Good evening.
Hi, John.
Good evening. You're on.
I am.
Yeah.
You're on, John. You're up.
So I will just take a moment to say that we are very pleased to introduce Mr. Ledoux. We went through an exhaustive search. This position has gone some 8 months before we were able to find a candidate who met the requirements that will meet the town's and the DPW's needs. So we are very pleased and look forward to Mr. Ledoux starting next week if the board so approves.
Thank you. Mr. Ledoux, would you like to say a few words?
So I've been very excited about starting. I'm available to start next Monday on the 7th. And I have a lot of experience in construction industry and excited to start a new career with the DPW of Hopkinton and serving the community as best as I can.
Well, great. I'm going to leave your start date up to Mr. Westerling. But board members, do you have any questions? Mr. Tedson.
Yeah, I do. Hi, John. This is an external hire.
Through the chair, yes, it is, Mr. Tedstone.
Was this employee kind of a shining star in the applicants that you got, or were there no internal applicants?
Through the chair, we did have an internal applicant. He is one of our more junior employees, so he didn't meet the minimum requirements technically. So we had to look outside, and through the outside candidates that we have, Mr. Ledoux is indeed a shining star.
Thank you.
Mary Jo Lafreniere.
Well, I want to say welcome to Mr. Ledoux. Why did you want to go from, it looks like in your resume, you worked in the general sector, and now you're coming onto the municipal sector. How do you think that's going to be different?
That's a great question. I feel like I don't know. So like I said, I guess I could explain by saying, I've done construction my whole life. I have a really wide range of experience, but I'll be 45 in a couple of weeks, and I have no retirement, and there's no retirement offered. So I had started to look into the municipality end of things for retirement. My cousin is actually an employee of the city of Marlborough in the street department, and it led me to start researching some more of the municipality end of things. I have some experience in like municipalities. I had actually plowed for the town of Concord, Mass for a couple of winters, maintaining streets and things. So it won't be a total jump of something new, but it's something I was looking forward to trying.
Amy Ritterbusch.
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions. I've read through the resume. Everything looks good. And I agree, municipal jobs are very stable, and I can certainly understand wanting to switch. So welcome.
Thank you.
Muriel Kramer.
What are you looking forward to working in Hopkinton? What do you know about us, and what do you appreciate about the opportunity here?
The opportunity of construction is like a very volatile industry. And another thing just outside of the retirement is there's not a lot of security in construction. And with the way the housing market and how materials are increasing in price, it's a little concerning that aspect of things might break down soon. So to have an opportunity to come in with the town and do more or less what I do now, I'm a working foreman where I work now. We're actually working on a Whole Foods expansion and a Starbucks in Framingham that I'm getting pretty close to being done on. So I think it will be a good experience coming in and getting to work with the town. I did do some work with the town. We built a couple of homes. I forget, Chamberlain Street, I think it was, for Weston Development Group. So we kind of helped him finish up part of that project that he was working on a few years back. Outside of that, I don't really know a lot about Hopkinton. But I grew up in Marlboro, so I wasn't too far away.
You really,
Welcome.
Steve,
Good luck.
All right.
So, before I ask
related to
my
Steve Leduc.
Yes, that's my cousin.
Know him well.
Yeah, he's my cousin. We haven't spoken a little while. I've since moved out of Marlboro, so we've lost touch a little bit, but I run into my other cousin, his brother, Chris, from now and then. So
He was a good state representative. We worked hard together on a few projects.
yeah, Steve's a good guy. My parents still live in town right down the street from him, and I guess he went down and played some cribbage with him the other day, so I was happy to hear about that.
Okay, so before we get on to my last comment, I note the time is 7 o'clock, so I just want to call the public hearing for the application to transfer package store license Mobile Mart. We'll put that on hold. And my question to you, actually, my question is more for Ms. Lazarus. Ms. Lazarus, do we still have the hiring freeze in place, and did we need the exception for that?
The board previously voted this exception a while ago.
Okay, great.
The replacement.
Well, then, my only comment to Mr. Ledoux is congratulations and welcome aboard. We're excited to have you. I understand your concerns about the construction industry and having some stability, and would like to offer that to you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure.
Not only did Mr. Ledoux come to us with an interest in moving into municipal government, but also with a tremendous amount of experience. The panel voted unanimously to make the recommendation to the appointing authority, to the town manager, and then to the select board. And we were very impressed with his interest in helping others. He is not only a leader of projects, but he will be a leader of men in this capacity, and we think that he will do a very good job.
Excellent. So with that, I request a motion to appoint Robert Ledoux as working foreman in the Department of Public Works.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. How do we vote? Mr. Tedstone? Brendan Tedstone? Mary Jo Lafreniere?
Mary Jo Lafreniere, yes.
Amy Ritterbush?
Amy Ritterbush, yes.
Muriel Kramer?
Muriel Kramer, yes.
And Irfan Nasrullah is a yes. So that passes 4-0.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could I ask a clarifying question about a previous hearing?
Which hearing are we talking about?
The one on the liquor license. I was just going back through the packet, and I believe the attorney said the hours were 9 to 11, and the application says 9 to 10. I didn't know if that was a discrepancy or if it really will be 9 to 10. I just was.
Ms. Lazarus, I'm assuming that the prior license was 9 to 11, but they operated 9 to 10, but
Actually, you said 8 to 11.
I believe that the license that we've prepared is the identical hours that the business is open now, so there'd be no change.
Okay.
The board hasn't voted any change in hours.
Okay.
Yeah, do we know what they are? They 8 to 11? Do we know what they are?
I would have to look that up.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It is 7 o'clock. We're at 7:03 now. So we have a public hearing and on the application to transfer a package store license to Mobile Mart. I call the public hearing to order. This public hearing is being held pursuant to an application submitted to transfer the ownership, but not location, of a Section 15 package store wine and malt alcoholic license from Mobile Mart Hopkinton at 92 West Main Street. Would John Aida, representative, please join the board and make a brief presentation describing the request?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Select Board. My name is John Aida of McDermott, Quilty & Miller, located at 28 State Street in Boston. I am the attorney for the applicant, Global Montello Group Corp. It's going to be doing business as Mobile Mart Hopkinton. As you stated, this is a transfer of the existing license. It's previously or currently held by Hopkinton Friendly Services, Inc. also doing business as Mobile Mart Hopkinton. Joining me this evening is the proposed manager of record, James Brodeur. Also joining me is William Bruce, a region manager, and Farron Lopes, territory manager for Global Montello Group. By way of experience, Mr. Brodeur has over 20 years experience in the retail industry. He is alcohol server trained, and he's also a manager of record and has been vetted by the ABCC on another alcohol license. So he's gone through this process, and as I stated before, has obtained approval through the state. He is the individual who will be responsible for the day-to-day operations at this location. At this point, it's pretty much a turnkey transfer. We're not looking to make any changes at this time. Again, the store is about 1,600 square feet. The shelving and storage of alcohol would remain the same as the prior operation. The hours of operation for the alcohol service would also remain the same. Just briefly, by way of introduction to Global Montello Group, they own the property at this location, and throughout Massachusetts, they also hold 8 other licenses which sell beer and wine for off-premise consumption. They are very well run and operated stores. They operate under the Honey Farms and Alltown business names throughout the Commonwealth. They, as I stated, are experienced operators, and their entire time owning and operating the other licenses, they have no violations at any of their stores. And they can attribute that to a few factors. One is they always have trained staff, secure and security in place, as well as a POS system that does prevent or certainly helps to prevent the sale to underage individuals, and also during any off hours of operation that the store may be open and the sales of alcohol would not be permitted. So for instance, if an age restricted product was brought up to the counter, that clerk has to, it's flagged on the system, and that clerk has to check a valid ID, enter in the date of birth, and compare that photo to the person in front of them. So they don't really have an option to advance that purchase beyond that. So they found throughout their years of operating that this has been a very successful way of handling this, and it's attributable to the fact that they have no violations. So I don't think you're going to see them again before the board, hopefully not, for that reason. And again, they come with a lot of experience, both corporately as well as the individuals that run the store locally, including the managers, the territory, and the region managers. If you have any questions, Mr. Brodeur is available, as well as Mr. Bruce and Mr. Lopes.
Okay, staff report, Ms. Lazarus.
Thank you. The new owners have been queried and no issues were identified. The permitting team didn't have any adverse comments, and there are no outstanding issues with the current license.
Great. Board members, do you have any questions? Brendan Tedstone? Mary Jo Lafreniere?
The only question I have is, Mobile Mart is open many more hours than the alcohol license. How do you do that? Is there something that flags the fact that at 2 o'clock in the morning somebody's trying to buy alcohol?
Correct.
How does that work?
Yep. So that point of sale system, other than the having the clerks on staff, and I believe the coolers are locked up during off hours, but that point of sale system will lock out any product that may be inadvertently brought up during the off hours. So sales end at 11 p.m. say, and at 11:01, if for some reason someone brought up a 6-pack or a bottle of wine, that it would automatically be flagged in the POS system by the clerk, and they would not be able to complete that transaction. So in addition to the human, the staff behind the counter, there's also the computer backup, and that system is well in place that does prevent that from happening.
Great.
Thank you.
Amy Ritterbush.
I don't think I actually have any questions. That I appreciate the presentation and the comments from staff. This is going to be it's the site that they've just torn down and they're totally renovating, that came before the planning board a few years ago, I think, corner of what is it, Lumber Street Elm Street Extension, I think, right? And
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's Elm
and
Street.
West Main, Elm Street. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no questions.
Muriel Kramer.
Yeah, the only question I had was the hours that are listed are the current hours of operation. There's no change.
There are no change, correct.
Thank you.
Great. Before I get on to my comments, I see that the time is 7:10 and we have another public hearing for the Hopkinton Center for the Arts. So I'm gonna call the public hearing to order and put that on hold until we finish this up. So my only question is, this is purely transferring from the previous owner to the current owner. You're not asking for any additional, alcoholic beverages to be sold there, correct? It's just wine and beer?
That is correct. Just whatever was there existing, which is wine and malt or wine and beer, is what we're asking for this evening.
Okay. That's all I have. Any members of the public? I see none. Okay. So in that case, I request a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Roll call vote. Brendan Headstone? Mary Jo Lafreniere?
Mary Jo Lafreniere votes yes.
Amy Ritterbush?
Amy Ritterbush, yes.
Muriel Kramer?
Muriel Kramer, yes.
And Irfan Nasrullah votes yes. I'm going to request a motion to approve the transfer of the Section 15 license from Hopkinton Friendly Service to Global Montello Group Corp. DBA Hopkinton Mobile Mart at 92 West Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. So Brendan texted me and said his battery ran out. So I'm still going to give him the opportunity to vote, though. Brendan Headstone. Okay. Mary Jo Lafreniere.
Mary Jo Lafreniere votes yes.
Amy Ritterbush.
Amy Ritterbush, yes.
Muriel Kramer.
Muriel Kramer, yes.
And Irfan Nasrullah votes yes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Have a nice night. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Good night. Okay, it is 7:12. We're slightly off schedule here, but we have a public hearing for the Hopkinton Center for the Arts request for an outdoor alcohol service at 98 Hayden Row and a lease addendum. I call the public hearing to order. Would Kelly Grill, the HCA director, please join the board?
Hello, how are you all?
Good. This hearing is being held to obtain a public comment on a proposal by the HCA to serve alcohol at outdoor HCA events until September 30th of this year. The alcohol service area is within 500 feet of a school, which has prompted the public hearing. Current lease from the town does not permit service outdoors, and if the board is inclined to allow this activity, a draft lease addendum is included in the packet for review. The lease addendum would limit the hours of alcohol service from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Alcohol service will be provided by a licensed caterer, and the service area is shown on the architect stamped plan provided. Ms. Grill.
Hi, how are you? So yes, we are looking to allow for this. We're starting back up again with the community coming back to life again. And we had an incredible experience last summer where we were able to host our concerts outside, which musicians and everyone appreciated. It was a much safer environment. And this year we're looking to add a little bit more to the festivities. We're having some local food trucks to support their local restaurants. We are bringing in local artisans to help sell their wares. And we are allowed under our lease to serve alcohol inside the building. But in order to, again, just be more mindful of being a safer environment, make everything a little bit more comfortable for everybody, we would like to be able to take that service outside. And so we put together a series, our safety protocols and a cordoned off area, very, very similar to all the restaurants in town and how they did it. We followed those procedures. And so we are just looking for an exception to our lease. We will not be serving alcohol ourselves. We're hiring a 12C caterer, which is what we typically do when we have one of our events, then they hold the license. And so we're looking just for an exception to be able to sell the alcohol just outside in our area for those limited hours around these events.
Thank you. Staff report, Ms. Lazarus?
Thank you. We have not received any written comments in the town manager's office from members of the public regarding this. There were comments received from the permitting team during this process, and in response to those comments, the HCA submitted an event safety plan indicating that they would assess the number of attendees before each event and would have a police detail for events with over 100 people as recommended, and that's the same that's in their current lease. They clarified the maximum occupancy of the building will not change, that there will be a fence surrounding the alcohol service area, and that architect stamp plan has been submitted. Additionally, the school superintendent identified concerns with outdoor alcohol service in direct proximity to the high school.
Okay, I also noticed there was a comment from the police chief regarding police detail. Has that also been addressed?
So when there's more than 100 people, they would have a detail.
Okay. Board members, Mary Jo, is Brendan back with us? I do not see him. He is not. So Mary Jo Lafreniere.
Hi, I can see where the benches are and the alcohol would be served around the corner. But how are we going to keep people from walking around with alcohol?
So that area is where they can sit, where the benches and people bring their own chairs. But the fence will be around it with signs that say that alcohol is not permitted beyond that point. And we also have volunteers that can monitor the exits and entrances.
Okay, that's all
That's it. Okay.
all I had, yeah.
Amy Ritterbush.
Yep, I was reading through the papers and I think I understand correctly that the lease amendment would only be for the summer of 2021. And that if they were to want to do this in a future year in the fall, they would come back to us and there would be another public hearing. The people. Correct. Okay. So I don't think I have any further questions.
Okay. Muriel Kramer.
Yeah, thank you. First, I'm super excited, Kelly, that you're going to be able to do some more events and that we're all sort of getting safely back to the life that we have been missing. And certainly the arts is a big piece of the community rhythm and joy. I share Carol Kavanaugh's concerns. I appreciate the safety plan. I just want to say in full disclosure that I think that I am more willing to consider it this summer because of the circumstances and would have renewed questions if it were to come before us again for a future summer, because I do think it's an exception rather than a rule circumstance to have alcohol outside, particularly so close. I think the paperwork said through September. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, so I think that there's some special concerns, and I'm sure that you will attend to them with the police department and so forth when school is back in session, and there's an awful lot of events in September for the school. So just as long as you are mindful of those and coordinate with the police department so that we don't have mixing of events, I think that I'm very much in favor of it for this year, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We will. We typically do that each year with the schools as well to make sure, just in general, that our events aren't overlapping too much, but we'll definitely pay even extra attention to that in September.
So I got a couple questions. So the restrictions have been lifted. The COVID restrictions have been lifted. I've gone to shops. I'm still wearing a mask, but I still see people without masks now. A lot of people without masks. So you've always been able to have serve alcohol indoors. Now that we're lifting restrictions, why do you still need to go outside?
We are lifting them, but we're still running into a number of people. There's a difference between lifting them and even in small classes and 100 people in an auditorium. So it just feels like that piece, especially with people singing, because singing is called the super spreader. And when you're in a close area with people singing, so people are still just a little still uncomfortable. Feels like it needs just a little bit more time. You're right that we're getting there and we're almost there, but for the next, couple of months, it still feels, and then could be a detriment to the event itself because people are not comfortable coming and sitting close to each other. People are singing inside.
Right. I mean, I guess we have small clubs opening with music being played and people crammed in. We saw the Bruins game over the weekend, full capacity. And while I understand the reluctance, because it's still kind of difficult for me to enter such a place, I'm balancing that against the neighbors and the proximity to the school, and I'm having a hard time reconciling that because the neighbors are going to have to deal with this year round. So do you have any kind of noise mitigation measures to address that?
Sure. Well, I think you're talking about two different things. We have always had these concerts outside, and we've, to my knowledge, we've never had a noise complaint from a neighbor. We've been doing them for over 5 years now, without alcohol. We actually had not chosen to serve alcohol at these events in the past, simply because of capacity on our end and other things that we're getting up to. We also could not find a provider that was affordable, quite frankly, because we are required to use a 12C licensed caterer. Those caterers, because they're carrying that extra insurance, tend to be too expensive. And these concerts, they don't make any money. So it ended up being not feasible for us that way. So we did find an incredible partner that we'd like to work with to use for these events. So it actually has become affordable and possible for us to sell alcohol at these type of events. They tend to be, like I said, the noise factor has not been an issue that I'm aware of to any of the neighbors.
If you add alcohol and people get louder.
Well, I agree with you. I understand that, but I would welcome you to come to one of these concerts. This is not a rowdy crowd. These tend to be people that are my age. And we're only selling beer, wine, and maybe a specialty cocktail. It's really not a party kind of atmosphere. It's not. Forgive me, young people at a rager. It's not that kind of thing. These are jazz concerts and
When I go to concerts, I rage, and I'm older.
It's not that type of event from these people.
All right. Any comments from the public? I see Miss Carol Kavanaugh has her hand raised. Can we liven her up? I think you're muted, Miss Kavanaugh.
Am I there?
Yep, you're here.
You are.
Great. So thank you very much for taking my comment. I know that sort of broadly, it was stated that the schools had some concerns, but I do want to let you know that I have reached out to our director of facilities, Mr. Tim Person, as well as our high school principal, Mr. Evan Bishop. And the two of them have confirmed that throughout the months of July and August, there are no school-sponsored events that would be taking place at Hopkinton High School on either Friday evening or Saturday evening. So the schools really have, no concerns about being neighbors to this in either July or August. As you know, our teachers and students will be coming back on September 1st. And I will say that as of this point right now, we really don't have anything sort of hard and fast scheduled for Friday and Saturday evenings in September, although we anticipate that we will. So I just wanted to clarify that point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see Martin Bays has his hand raised. Can we liven him up? Martin, you're muted.
I
Okay.
believe I should be okay now. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, great. My name's Martin Bays. I'm trying to mute my phone in the background here. Okay, my name's Martin Bays. I'm the immediate abutter to the south of the Arts Centre. I can confirm what Kelly said. These events have been no problem whatsoever from a noise point of view. And looking at the provisions of the proposed arrangement, I would have no issues whatsoever. I think Kelly describes the crowd very well. The music is slightly louder than the people, but the level of the music is very pleasing. No issue there whatsoever. So I wanted to speak in favor of supporting this initiative to the extent that's possible.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very helpful to hear. Do we have anyone else? I see no other hands raised. So I request a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Mary Jo Lafreniere,
Mary Jo Lafreniere votes yes.
Amy Ritterbush,
Amy Ritterbush, yes.
Muriel Kramer,
Muriel Kramer, yes.
and Irfan Nasrullah, yes. I would give Brendan an opportunity, but he's not here. So then I request a motion to approve the transfer of a section 15, sorry, wrong thing. I request a motion to approve the second addendum to the lease agreement, thereby allowing outdoor alcohol service at the HCA from June 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2021, under the terms and conditions contained in the addendum, and to authorize the town manager to sign the addendum.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mary Jo Lafreniere,
Mary Jo Lafreniere votes yes.
Amy Ritterbush,
Amy Ritterbush, yes.
Muriel Kramer,
Muriel Kramer, yes.
and Irfan Nasrullah is a yes. And I want to just say that it was the comments from the public that swayed my vote.
Great.
So yes, I guess we're all set there.
I guess
Thank
we're
you
gonna
all
have to
so
make a
much. Hope you come. Yes, please come to the concerts.
The
I'm gonna
noise
come, I'm
level,
gonna rage. I told you, I
the
rage.
noise level may go up. I don't know.
That's right. Well, if her farm is there, obviously.
I'm gonna lead the raging, man.
Great.
All
Thank you
right. Thank you so much. Next agenda item, the town manager, police chief, and fire chief annual goals. Maria Casey is going to be joining our meeting. The board's going to brainstorm possible fiscal year 22 goals for the town manager, police chief, and fire chief, and finalize the goals at the next meeting. The board has until July 1st to set 3 goals for each. Ms. Casey.
Yes, good evening to the select board. As you know, the select board evaluated the fire chief, police chief, and town manager at their meeting of, where did I lose my date? At the meeting of May 18th. And so the next step in the process is the evaluations were finalized based on the board input, the compiled input. And the next step in the process, which is the town's process for all other employees as well, is for the police chief, fire chief, and town manager to have an opportunity to meet with the former chair who was designated at the May 18th meeting as well. To also potentially have the opportunity to provide their own comment to the evaluation and to talk about goals with the chair, with the outgoing chair. As you may recall, at the strategic planning meeting of March 3rd, all of the department heads, including police chief, fire chief, and town manager, also laid out, the strategic plan, which, was part of the budget. And so, most likely the goal suggestions may come under the overarching theme of those presented at that meeting. And so I'd like to suggest that Brendan, again, who was designated by the board, meet with Joe Bennett, Steve Slamman, and Norman Kumalo to have that exchange of the 3 tools. And we may be able to present a draft of goals. In the past, there is usually more goals than there are 3, best practices are 3 goals annually. And the board then prioritizes goals and votes on the final 3. But that would have given, again, police chief, fire chief, and town manager opportunity to have those exchanges. And if the board is fine with that, I will help facilitate that happening in the next few weeks to be prepared for the June 15th meeting.
Okay, so Mr. Tedstone is unavailable at the moment. So have you had those discussions with former chair?
Not as of yet, no.
Okay. Board members, do you have any? Board members, do you have any comments or questions? Mary Jo Lafreniere?
It's a little hard to do without some input from all 3, the 2 chiefs and the town manager. I would like to know what they expect for their own goals to be for the upcoming year, and then we can expand on them or make our own. But I think it's really important to know how they feel about the direction of their departments and where they also want to go with it.
And through the chair, if I may, so the town manager is not available, but the police chief and fire chief are in the background listening. But again, tonight was to outline the process and to be able to present draft goals to the board. And then, of course, each board member will then have the opportunity to suggest others for which the police chief, fire chief, and town manager will be at we will request that they be at the meeting of June 15th if possible.
So you'll be circulating the goals amongst the board members by email, I take it?
Yeah, so individually, yes, as the process is,
Okay.
that it's the town's defined process that they've had for 5 years now, in accordance with the ruling due to happen to be the town of Wayland. So yes, but what needs to happen is the former select chair, Brendan Tedstone, have the opportunity to, whether to call them, talk to them, go meet with them in person, to have that full breadth of discussion. Their self-assessments, which with the exception of Muriel, everybody has a copy of their self-assessment, and the evaluation itself for them to, employees are always able to provide comment on the evaluation itself. And then what were they thinking about goals?
Okay. Amy Ritterbush?
So I guess I just want to clarify, we gave a lot of feedback and input and suggestions when we did the evaluation. So they'll take that into account when they meet with the former chair, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so they'll come back with something consolidated that we can review. And
Yeah.
when will we see what they have drafted for goals at the next meeting?
Yes, that is the goal. So, just depending upon availability, but the goal is for the June 15th meeting. I'm happy to reach out to both Chief Bennett and Chief Slamman just to see if there are any conflicts. I don't know if they're, taking any time off, but I'm sure Mr. Tedstone, will find his way to reach out to each of them and receive their, set up a meeting whether it's a virtual meeting, an in-person meeting, or a teleconference, yes.
Okay.
Muriel Kramer.
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with what the ruling was from Wayland that drives this process in some way. Can somebody explain that to me?
Sure, and I don't have the, who the appellant, if you will, was, the claimant, but in the distant past, the chair of the board would often meet with individual board members and get their feedback on anybody who has a contract with the Board of Selectmen. And the Attorney General ruled that that was inappropriate and a violation of the open meeting law. So about 5 years ago, the town came up with a new process, and that was part of the process.
Okay, so I'm a little less, invested in one person having those first conversations, a little more invested in having a group conversation and taking the time to do that in public. So I would recommend a slightly different process, but certainly one that is in accordance with the open meeting law, being the rule follower that I am. I wonder if we could just, as a board, get the feedback from the town manager, the fire chief, and the police chief, and have that conversation at our next meeting rather than sort of drawing it out and having one iteration of sort of a lack of transparency, if you will. And I know that's not what anybody means, but have it fully in front of the community.
If I could, through the chair.
Actually, Ms. Casey, why don't you respond to that, and then we can go back to you.
Oh, sure, wonderful, thank you. Yes, so in the past, the police chief and fire chief have been available at those meetings. When we used to meet in person, myself as the compiler, and depending on who it is, police chief, fire chief, town manager, would be at that meeting. And then the draft that gets circulated to the board, it has what their input was, their 3 goals as they thought them to be. And more often than not, there is consensus for what the projects are. So for example, I'm happy to read from the March meeting, the all hands meeting in March, what the 3 of them thought for next year, the overarching themes, but we will be prepared to have that deliberation on June 15th.
You all set, Muriel Kramer?
I guess.
Okay.
I guess. It feels a little, I will tell you, it feels a little bit harder than it needs to be, but I'll watch it play out this time.
Amy Ritterbush, you had a comment?
I was just going to add that I think Muriel wasn't on the board when we did the last meeting, but I felt like we did all give our input and suggestions for improvement in a public meeting maybe 2 meetings ago. And we all saw the self-assessments, but Muriel didn't have that opportunity. So will she be able to get a copy of the self-assessments and in the compiled evaluation? Maybe that might be helpful to her to have a starting point.
Once they're final, yes.
Okay.
They're still in process, if you will, because of the last steps of it, which is to allow the employees to provide comment.
Okay.
And then, yes.
Great, and I have no comments. So, Ms. Lazarus, do we need to vote on this, or how do we proceed here?
No action necessary.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ms. Casey.
Thank you.
Town manager report, Ms. Lazarus.
I have nothing to add beyond what Norman put in this report in the packet. With respect to the release of executive session minutes, he was unable to complete that review, and so we'll do that at the next meeting.
Okay, great. let's see, we've already done our liaison reports and board invites. So future board agenda items. Mary Jo Lafreniere?
Yes, since the governor is lifting the everything on the 15th, then our next meeting should be in person. So it's been nice Zooming with all of you, and I hope we don't ever have to do it again.
So noted. We can all agree that we're on board with that. Amy Ritterbush?
Yeah, for future agenda items, I was wondering if we could get an updated list of all the different future agenda items we've requested over the past year. And maybe that could be linked as a Google Doc in the agenda. So we can just kind of cross off the ones that we've covered and see what's left. Because right now we're heading into our not very busy season, but once the fall hits, we're going to be busy with budget and stuff.
That would be great.
Ms. Lazarus, is that something that can be compiled?
Yes, in fact, I do have one that lists them all with them struck through already, so I can just share that with you.
Perfect. Muriel Kramer?
No, I just wanted to verify that we don't need to vote, and we are comfortable with the freedom flag for that period of time. It wasn't super clear to me, or do we need to have folks back to make sure we vote on that for the Juneteenth through July 4th celebration?
So my understanding is that we do not need to vote on it, and they can just work with town staff. Ms. Lazarus, would you like to elaborate?
That's correct. A vote isn't necessary.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. The only other thing I wanted to put on the agenda, if we need it, is Hopkinton's first ever Pride event that the Freedom Team is putting on June 26th. And I know that the select board and other town officials have been invited to participate, and it would be a nice opportunity to invite the Freedom Team in to share that with us. And I'd like to just put it on people's heads to consider. I'll be walking certainly, and would love some company. So I just want to throw that there.
Ms. Lazarus, do we have any space available on the June 15 meeting for that?
We can communicate and work on that.
I think that'd be great. I think it would be nice to hear a little presentation on the Juneteenth, a little bit of background and something to that effect. I think it would be really useful. I was watching a special on it the other day, and I think this is something that we should be talking about, or at least hearing about.
Through the chair, this reminded me, if that's okay.
Sure.
They're calling it a Pride parade, but it's not really a parade through the streets. It's just a walk around the track. And so they don't need a parade permit, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, just double checking.
Excellent.
Very good catch. So I just wanted to make sure the Juneteenth event and the Pride event would be welcome to come just give a small presentation. Yeah, I don't know if the Pride event wants it. I do know that they would like our participation if we're available.
We can reach out to you.
I think I can make it around,
Yeah, I'll be there.
but I'm not sure.
You can make it around. I'll walk with you, Mama.
Okay. You pick me up when I fall down, huh?
Excellent. All right. With that, I guess, Amy, you are in my former role for the final motion of the evening.
Okay, so I move to adjourn the select board meeting.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mary Jo Lafreniere.
Mary Jo Lafreniere votes yes.
Amy Ritterbush.
Amy Ritterbush, yes.
Muriel Kramer.
Muriel Kramer, yes.
I just want to enjoy my time in the sun, so I'm going to vote no.
You're not going to adjourn? Okay. You're out voting.
It passes 3-1.
And
Good night, everyone.
All right.
I don't know if I can say anything because this might go on TV. So be giving you all a call later.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.